Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Evening Devotion. There is a lot going on around the world right now. I mean, a lot. I mean, there isn't a place that isn't being affected right now. The world is going. The world's going off the deep end. I listened to, because I had to go over and haul hay for my mom. I listened to Billy Crone. He had a video come out yesterday, and Prophecy Watchers shared it, and some of the comments down there, people are just oblivious to the truth, oblivious to anything reasonable. And then you see it out in the streets too, and you're like, I just don't get it. I don't get how people can see it. And it's got to be a stupor. It's got to be some kind of numbing of the mind that they can't see these things, literally, because the Lord has blinded them. I remember there's verses in the Bible that talks about that. The Lord would blind them so they couldn't see the truth, especially when it came to the end times. I tell you, if you're not a believer, now's the time to get it done. Now's the time to get in the door. Because we don't know how much time we have left. And I certainly don't want to wait till the last minute to get on the boat. Like the cruise ships. Let people off into those different ports. They tell them, this is when we're leaving. And then never fails, somebody's always running up at the last minute. The one video I saw, the boat was already past the dock. And they're on the dock yelling, hollering, hey, come back. The ship's already moving. They're not going to stop it for you. So the Port Authority had to actually get them. And they're like, you got to wait. What are we going to do? You're going to have to buy another cruise and catch the next ship. The next boat that comes through, you're going to fly home. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't get people. I don't understand people. But this is the way of the world. This is the way things were supposed to be when the time came, and here we are. Let's get into Exodus 22:6. If fire breaks out and catch in thorns, so that the stacks of corn or the standing corn or the field be consumed therewith, he that kindled the fire shall surely make restitution. And that is the verse. So this is in the Exodus is some of the law being given, some of the finer points. Let's go up. Starting in verse 1, if a man steals an ox or a sheep and slaughters it or sells it, he shall restore 5 oxen for an ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. One of the little known things about certain military bases, like Fort Hood, for example. If you're out driving around the ranges, because they got roads that pass one side to the other, going to the back of it, and they're, if you're allowed to be on base, you can drive those roads. And if you're driving along and you hit it, because there's cattle, it's ranch. The ranges are all ranch land, and there's cattle that run out there. Can't hurt the cattle. If there's cattle that enter a range while they're under exercise, you have to stop the exercise until the cows are gone. I had to do it once. You hit and kill it, you have to pay for the cow, and you have to pay for at least one calf that cow would have had. Bar none. Even if it wasn't your fault. So this is still in practice today. If the thief is found breaking in and he is stuck so that he dies, there shall be no guilt for his bloodshed. Yet nowadays they try to sue you if they get hurt breaking in your house. If the sun is risen on him, there shall be guilt for his bloodshed. He should make full restitution. If he has nothing, then he shall be sold for his theft. If the theft is certainly found alive, or if the theft is certainly found alive in his hand, whether it is an ox or donkey or sheep, he shall restore double. If a man causes a field or vineyard to be grazed and lets loose his animal, and it feeds in another man's field, he shall make restitution from the best of his own field and the best of his own vineyard. This was an economy that kept things even. That kept things normal. That kept people honest. It was an incentive to make sure you paid attention and did the right thing and didn't just willy-nilly. Like the people back behind me here that, luckily the wind was blowing the other way. They moved from the city, came out to the country, lit some branches on fire outside, and caught a big old section of woods on fire. We had 5 different county fire departments out here. to make sure they put that fire out. They even brought aircraft in and was dropping water. My neighbor's got it on film. I watched it. Something else. If fire breaks out and catches in thorns, so that stacked grain, standing grain, or the field is consumed, he who kindled the fire shall surely make restitution. We've got corn on the stalk right now. The feed corn is dry, and it burns really easily. So they're real careful about, this time of year, don't light no fires anywhere near that, because if that field catches, the only thing you can do is put the disc on, and the farmer can run around the field and plow in a big wide swath of it. It has to plow it under so it won't keep burning and catch anything else on fire. And the field's a loss. You can't put it out. This kind of stuff, this kind of law was to cover for those incidences. And maybe even possibly knowing this, the guy would have to, he knows, hey, if this happens, I'm going to have to pay for this. Don't do it. If a man delivers to his neighbor money or articles to keep, and it is stolen out of the man's house, if the thief is found, he shall pay double. If you're responsible for it, you're going to be responsible for it. If nothing's changed. It's still that way now in normal society. If the thief is not found, then the master of the house shall be brought to the judges to see whether he has put his hand into his neighbor's goods. For any kind of trespass, whether it concerns an ox, a donkey, a sheep, or clothing, or for any kind of lost thing which another claims to be his, the cause of both parties shall come before the judges. And whomever the judges condemn shall pay double to his neighbor. And it keeps going. This is all designed to keep people honest. And we used to do things like this even just, recently. I say recently, in my lifetime, we used to do things like this. I witnessed land deals brokered over handshakes. No documentation. Men kept themselves honest. They operated with integrity. I watched it. Dude bought a field. We were all out there. I was with my dad when I was young, standing around there, and these guys were talking about it, and they bought it. Other guy said, I'll buy that corner down there. I'll just cut a path in the trees, and I can run back and forth from it if you don't want it. And he goes, yeah. How much you want for it? And they agreed on a price, and they shook hands on it, and that was it. There was no paperwork done. He said, once you give me the cash, I'll go down and I'll transfer the ownership over to you. And they knew people down in that town. They knew people in the title office, and they knew what to do, and they knew who they were dealing with, so they just did it. There was no paperwork. Now everything has to be paperwork. I know, because we've been filling out a lot of paperwork the last few days, last 2 weeks. Because people can't be honest anymore. But what restitution can he make who casts abroad the firebrands of error or the coal of lasciviousness and set men's souls on a blaze with the fire of hell? One of the things Billy Crone talked about in his video yesterday that I listened to today was how the witchcraft stuff and how they're trying to bring down churches, how they go in there and they cause problems knowingly, trying to seduce the pastor or elders, or trying to take control and then bring the church down. And they'll close it. They'll literally get control of it and close it. It happens constantly. Or they'll turn it into one of their witchcraft churches and then, oh, it's Christian, but we do this. Like when they were telling people here a while back, what was it, last year? Talking about 3 days of darkness. Y'all gotta light beeswax. Gotta light beeswax candles. Well, there never was 3 days of darkness. There's never going to be. It's all bunk. But lighting the beeswax candles. Now, beeswax candles is one thing, but doing it with that purpose in mind, that's actually dips into witchcraft. They're trying to promote it everywhere. It's craziness. Those people are doing this. With what we just read in this first sentence. They're doing that. Casting abroad the firebrands of error. We've got people also doing it with this whole stuff they're promoting, and we were talking about that gibberish tongue stuff. People are nice enough that do that. They don't realize that what they're doing is actually dips into demonism. It's confusion. It's not biblical. It's confusion. Who's the author of confusion? I asked somebody once that said that they pray like that. I said, do you know what you're saying? Can you repeat to me? Well, no, I just say those syllables. So you don't even know what you're saying. Oh, but the Lord does. Okay, well, how would the Lord know what you're saying if you don't even know what you're saying? Even if he reads your mind, he's not going to know what you're saying because you don't know what you're saying. It's useless. There's nothing to it. It's confusion. It literally. Nobody can translate it. Nobody has in the history of man translated gibberish. But all that stuff dips into that. And like Billy Crone has a whole video series on this. He covers it in depth. I've watched almost all of them. And where that stuff actually comes from. And it would probably shock you to learn where it comes from and how it entered the church. It's not something they came up with in the church. It's something they got from these false religions and this demonism and stuff in other countries. When you know where this stuff comes from, it's real easy to spot it and understand, whoa, I ain't doing that. I know where that comes from. Well, we get it in the Bible. No, you didn't. You got it from this weird, devil worshiping religion out here. And it entered the church way back in the past, and it's just been carried on. It's nuts. But that's this kind of stuff we're looking at here. Is they're casting these firebrands of error. What restitution can they pay for doing that? They're trying to get people to go away from the Bible and away from the Lord. They're trying to distract people, destroy people, bring them down, cast as much negative publicity on these things as they possibly can. What restitution can they pay for doing that? How many souls have they caused to step away? How many people's faith have they shipwrecked? They'll have to deal with that. I've talked about this in a bunch of videos. They're going to have to deal with it. What about the date setters? Don't get me started on that. Yet they're trying. They're trying. Supposedly, like September 26th, 27th, or 28th this year, supposedly is a possible day. Tell him, Angus. Tell him. Come here and pet me. Come here and pet me. He's excited to see you. I haven't seen you all day. The guilt is beyond estimate. And the result is irretrievable. There is no saving this. Did you let a dog out?
I was trying to, but
oh. Let's close that and keep the cool air in here. Oh. It's warm today. So, it's beyond estimate. The result is irretrievable. I told you guys, what the worst horror in hell is. It's not physical torment. A lot of people say that. I mean, I'm sure there is some. That's not what it is. It's knowing the truth, and they can't help but know the truth down there. See, they'll have perfect knowledge too. It's knowing the truth and living with the guilt for eternity that you could have made the decision for Christ. Living with the guilt of the things you did knowingly against him. And regretting it. That's the torment. And it is overwhelming regret. The rich man and Lazarus. The rich man had regret. It's just the whole story is dripping with it. That's the torment. What flames was he tormented in? Were they physical flames? Maybe. Were they flames of regret? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If such an offender be forgiven, what grief it will cause him in the retrospect when he thinks back about, here's the path I had to take to get to this salvation. Look at what I did. And there's a lot of people that do that carry that. They come from very dark backgrounds, and they look back on that, and they're like, wow. Since he cannot undo the mischief which he has done. Now, when you're saved, you're saved. I'll tell you one thing. I wouldn't want to be the one to fall into the hands of a vengeful God and have to deal with that and give account for that. And here's the amazing thing. People are like, oh, well, I'll just don't worry about it. I'll just go to hell, be with all the people I know. I'll be in good company. No, you don't keep company in hell. It's not just everybody just having a tailgate party. And nobody rules down there. It already has a ruler. They're going to have to deal with that. They're going to have to give an account for that. You know, everybody's going to be there at the white throne judgment. They're going to have to give an account for that. An ill example may kindle a flame which years of amended character cannot quench. Some of us may take this to heart. Look in our past, see what we were, mistakes we made. I'm tormented by my mistakes in the past often. I do a lot to push it away and remember who I am now. I can't change that. And I remind myself, I can't change it. It's in the past. It's done. Once it's done, it's done. That's it. To burn the food of a man is bad enough, but how much worse to destroy the soul? It may be useful to us to reflect how far we may have been guilty in the past and to inquire whether, even in the present, there may not be evil in us which has a tendency to bring damage to the souls of our relatives, friends, or neighbors. And listen, folks, we are in a battle all the time, fighting against the old nature. The Bible tells us this. The New Testament tells us. Paul tells us this. The flesh and the spirit are always warring. The fire of strife is a terrible evil when it breaks out in a Christian church. I witnessed that real time in my last church. I found out that congregation is very small right now. Very small. At the height of it, we were running about 50 people. And last, what I heard from people who are still going there, it's down to just a few. And there was a lot of strife there at that time, especially with the one elder. He caused a lot of problems. Where converts were multiplied and God was glorified, jealousy and envy do the devil's work most effectually. Where the golden grain was being housed to reward the toil of the great Boaz, the fire of enmity comes in and leaves little else but smoke and a heap of blackness. Woe unto those by whom offenses come. That's a direct quote from Scripture. Now, some people may sit there and say, well, I didn't do it, but you instigated it. You set people to go do those things. You said certain things or shared certain things to start the problem. You're the one guilty of it. They think they're safe. I didn't do anything. Sure. See, the Lord knows everything. May they never come through us. May we never be the instigators of these problems. For although we cannot make restitution, we shall certainly be the chief sufferers if we are the chief offenders. Those who feed the fire deserve just censure. But he who first kindles it is most to blame. Literally what I just told you. And that can be by just sharing a little comment. And it sets something off in a person. And they go and they do all these terrible things. You know, there are people who have been convicted for someone else's murder because they had a conversation with the murderer and instigated the interaction. Yet they had nothing to do with the action. They're just as guilty, if not more so. Discord usually takes first hold upon the thorns. It is nurtured among the hypocrites and base professors in the church, and away it goes among the righteous, blown by the winds of hell, and no one knows where it may end. It can end with you. If it comes to you and they try to pull you in, it can end with you. The most powerful word you have in your vocabulary is the word no. You can stop it with you. No, I won't do that. No, I'm not interested. No, I will not join you in this. No, I don't agree with you. And I'm getting better and better at saying no to things. No, not happening. Why not? Because I don't want to get involved. Well, I mean, this isn't nothing you're getting involved. Actually, it will by default end up getting me involved. I don't want to be involved. And then the other people come and they say, well, you did this for them. No, I didn't. I told them no when they came to me. I had this, almost got in a fist fight years ago over this very thing. And they said, well, you this. And I said, they came to me and asked me. I told them no. Did they tell you I did? I didn't do it. You want to see? And I gave them the proof showing that I had nothing to do with it. And they said, well, I guess you don't have anything to do with it. I said, no, I don't. They got you excited and sent you here to cause problems. I have nothing to do with it. Because when they came and they tried to get me involved, I said, no, I don't want to be involved. It's a hard pass for me. And you know what? People won't want to be around you anymore when you don't want to play that game. A lot of it is because you make them feel guilty. That's why acting in accordance with Christian values helps a lot. It is lonely, but you know what? I've become very comfortable with my company. And life is a whole lot more peaceful. We don't have all the nonsense around it, do we, Michael? Life is a lot more peaceful. O thou Lord and giver of peace, make us peacemakers. Again, it can end with you. And it can start with you at the same time. And never let us aid and abet the men of strife, or even unintentionally cause the least division among thy people. And that's another big sticky point for all of us even, is the unintentional involvement we get pulled into because we don't know the whole story. We don't know what's going on. I've had this problem too, and I had to deal with it where I didn't know what was going on. I got pulled into something. Suddenly I'm getting threatened, and I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here? Oh, don't act like you don't know. I don't know. I'm here to do this. What's happening? What I have not been told? And then they share it with me, and I'm like, nobody said anything about that. Well, of course I'm not interested in this. So I have to look at the other person. You're lying, trying to cause a problem. But you know what? You deal with it. I turn around and walk away. That's your problem. And the other one's like, hey, we ain't got no beef. I did not know this is what was going on. See ya. Walk away. I can't believe you did that to me. I can't believe you did that to me. Trying to pull me into your problems to deflect from yourself. Who's the guilty party? And try to see if you can cast it off somebody else. Pass? That's a hard pass. I don't want nothing to do with it. Go away. You guys can't see what I'm watching right now. So Angus, sorry to get off topic here. So Angus, he was very poorly treated in the beginning. When he got here, he was free. And he is a I guess boxer mix, several different things. He looks like a scary dog. He sounds like a scary dog. But no, he's a huge puppy. He loves to be as close to you as he can. If you sit on the couch, he's sitting next to you, and he will lay on you. And so Michael's over here hugging on him and everything. He loves it. He loves to be close. He loves attention. He loves to be petted. He is just a big old puppy dog. He's getting old, though. I don't know how much longer he's got, but he's still going strong.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't that right, Angus? Angus. Hi.
I'm beginning to wonder if Angus is kind of sensing something with me, or...
If you sit on the couch, he's sitting on you. If Elaine sits on the couch, he just melts all over her. And he won't move until she moves. It's funny to watch. But hi, buddy. Hi, old man. Hi, old man. So I'm sitting here watching it. Angus loves attention. Anyway, Athena does too, but you can't touch her because she explodes in fur. So the big struggle we deal with as Christians, as much as we have pushed away from society and don't want to get caught up in those things, is we get drawn into this stuff unintentionally without ever knowing what had happened. I try to make it a point now, especially after going and being in the Army and learning to pay attention to verbal cues and actions and visual cues and stuff like that. Looking at my surroundings, I'm always scanning my surroundings, paying attention to what people say, how they say it, what they do. I'm starting to be able to get better and better at identifying potential problems and backing out before it ever becomes an issue. I've also gotten much better about standing my ground. When somebody comes up and starts to call me out, I had nothing to do with that. I don't know who you think you're talking to. You might want to approach this a little different if you want a good result out of it. But it's just as easy for me to get in my vehicle and drive away and not have nothing to do with any of you. I am perfectly content with doing that. And I have done that. I have gotten in my car and drove off. No thanks. Don't call me. Don't come by. I don't want the stress. I don't need the stress. I have a health condition that is exacerbated greatly by stress. I don't want it. I don't need it. I can't take it. Sorry about that. I forgot to mute my phone. So, it might be Elaine. She might already be up there. So, we can get pulled into this stuff unintentionally and not realize it. I have been over the years a lot. And it's taken all my life to this point to learn to start identifying it. But there's times I still get caught in that stuff. But when I figure out what's going on, that's when I go, whoa, put the brakes on. Nobody said anything about this. Pass. And it's rough trying to navigate society. People are always trying to manipulate. They're always trying to take advantage. They're always trying to do something. And they get better and better. And it gets hard sometimes to see it because they act very genuine. And then until you find out later what they're really about. And then you're like, oh, I thought they were okay. And now I'm realizing they're not. And it's unfortunate that people think they have to do that. But that's the mentality that we're dealing with, especially nowadays. It was going on back then too. But especially nowadays, that we have this kind of issue. And we never know who we're dealing with until we deal with them. And this is why a lot of people, especially Christians, just want to be out by themselves and don't want to be around anybody. They're tired of being hurt. They're tired of being used. They're tired of being manipulated. And they're tired of having to always be on the offensive. Always having to be in defense mode. Because they just don't know who they can trust. Well, I trust the Lord. I trust that He will keep us from these things and make us to not be partakers of these things and remove these things from our path and rebuke these people. Close their mouths. Foil their plans. Send them on to the side road and let us pass, ignore us, and keep moving. I don't want to be a part of it. And the more this world does what it does, the more things we see and hear about, the more none of us really want to get involved in that. And we just want to be believers and just worship our Lord and live our lives until we go on to the next life. Life doesn't have to be complicated. A lot of the reason why the law was so complicated was because it was to make things uncomplicated. So you could look at it and go, know exactly where you stand and what is going to happen. The Lord spelled it out clearly. Here's how things are going to be. Do it this way, you'll be fine. And they were until they tried to change something. They were until they tried to take advantage of each other. They were until they tried to... And Israel was not immune to these problems. We read about it throughout the Old Testament. So, be a believer. Stay out of trouble. I forget where the verse is. I'll close with this. There's a verse that talks about live peaceable. What was it? I heard it this morning. I think it's strive to live peaceable. First Thessalonians 4:11. First Thessalonians 4:11 and 12. That you also aspire to lead a quiet life, mind your own business, and to work with your own hands, as we commanded you, that you may walk properly toward those who are outside the faith, and that you may lack nothing. Strive to live a quiet life. You know what that also goes along with my my acronym, my motto I learned in the Army. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Don't complicate it. Can't go wrong. I love you all very much. I bless you all in Jesus' name, and I'll see you in the next video.